Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ask a Property Manager. I'm Eric Worrell with rentprep.com, and we are here with Andrew Schultz as always of Realty Edge. How you doing, Andrew?
Good. How are you today?
Oh, I am swell. So today we're going to jump right into it. We got a lengthy post I'm going to put on the screen here from Teresa asking some questions, but basically what Teresa is asking about is her lead process. So when she is listing her rentals, she's getting some email reply, and she's actually giving those people a pre-application that they have to fill out and get back to her, and she's just kind of, it's breaking the process for her, and she's not getting people to show up for the actual walkthroughs, and she's getting frustrated. So just kind of wanted your insights, kind of what you do in your process as far as generating leads for your rentals when you have a vacancy.
Sure. Where do we want to start on this? Let's talk about pre-applications first. Drop the pre-application. I've had no success with pre-applications. Think back to when Craigslist was more popular as a place to post apartments, and you would get people, and you'd email them about an apartment, and then they would send back a whole bunch of questions that they wanted you to answer. Those were almost always scams.
Mm.
So I think probably what's happening with her is her pre-application is probably being perceived by interested people as a potential scam.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that I had actually, it was one of the comments on the thread, and I don't remember who said it, but credit to that individual.
I think it was
Maybe you can
me.
like pop up. It might have been you.
No,
I don't
I
know.
didn't. I don't think I commented. I just try to take credit for things I didn't do.
No, somebody had actually made the comment of the less paperwork somebody has to do, the better off. The further down the pipeline you're going to wind up with them.
Mm.
You're better off having your conversation with somebody on the phone, I think, because you're going to be able to pull more information from them or ask a question if an answer seems weird or something like that. Nobody's going to do a pre-application, I don't think. I might be wrong. Maybe other
W-
people in different markets
You
are having
know,
success with it,
I
but
did. I did talk to Lee. I believe it's McCarran is how you say his last name. It looks like McEachern when you read it, but it's McCarran. And he's a member in the group. You've probably seen him post on things. He's a property manager in the Bay Area. And I know what he does is he actually has them come and do a walkthrough, but then he has a stack of pre-application forms. And on that pre-application, it lists his tenant screening criteria and then next steps to proceed. So he does do a pre-application, but it's after the walkthrough before the application. So I think in his
that's
instance,
weird.
yeah, but he's got it set up so it's like this is exactly what you do. It's really slick. He you text
Mm.
this number with this subject, and then that'll get you into the next steps of his funnel. And he has everything set up through Google Voice. So what they're texting is actually just a Google Voice number, and then that's kind of how he's funneling leads.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because we do something a little bit similar. I use a software package called AppTodo, AppToto. And what I do is I have my conversation on the phone with the potential applicant, and then when I go to register them, I put them into my AppTodo,
Okay.
and it basically it's integrated right into my Google Calendar. So as I'm typing, it picks it up on the back end, and what it does is it sends the prospect a text message
Mm-hmm.
and it's all customizable. You can set it up to send as many or as few messages as you want,
Okay.
but it's the way ours is set up right now is it sends them a message as soon as I add the appointment, confirming the appointment to the tenant with time, date, address, the number of bedrooms, and the amount of rent. So they have all that information right there at their fingertips, which is super helpful. It also sends them a reminder 24 hours before, and then 2 hours before, it sends a final text saying, hey, are you still able to make it? Yes, I can make it. No, I can't make it and need to cancel. No, I can't make it and I want to reschedule.
Really?
And then they just reply one, two, or three, and it pops up on my calendar. It syncs back and forth, so it goes right back to my calendar and tells me,
So when you're an hour
is
out,
this
you can
person
see this
coming?
person hasn't replied yet still.
It is, and it's cheap. It's $29 a month, and
Okay.
I promise I'm not trying to plug this company. I have no affiliate relationship with them,
Mm-hmm.
but they like this $29 a month that I spend has probably saved me thousands of dollars in man hours
Mm-hmm.
because now myself or my office manager aren't tied up confirming appointments. I can glance at my calendar and see right away, okay, this person's not going to make it. Okay, this person is going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's even better when like in our stuff down in South Buffalo where we're grouping a lot of people together for a showing.
Mm-hmm.
I can put 15 people on there, and now I don't have to make 15 phone calls. So it's a lifesaver. It really
That's
is.
really cool. I mean, it's
Um,
worth it if it saves you from one lost trip. I mean,
It
is
is.
your time, because it's going to take you at least an hour to get to a property and back, and
Yeah, exactly.
you
By
know.
the time I drive down there, wait, and then drive back, I've killed an hour of my day.
Hmm.
And then what'll happen is if somebody shows up, I have the mobile app on my phone. I'll open the app, I'll click on their name, and I'll say that they were. There's a few options you can tag, like on time, late, didn't show, things like that. But I
Hmm.
can tag them usually either on time or didn't show. If they didn't show, a day after it'll say, "Hey, sorry we missed you," or I think it's set up for a couple hours after. It'll say, "Hey, sorry we missed you. Did you want to reschedule?" Chances are that's a lead that's probably not going to follow up with you anyway.
Hmm.
It's kind of a throwaway. The other thing it'll do is on the way out, an hour after the showing, anybody who's marked on time, it'll say, "Hey, thanks for coming out. Please feel free to text me if you have any questions." 24 hours after the showing, it sends a text message saying, "Hey, I've had quite a bit of interest in the apartment. I'm just trying to find out who's going to be putting in rental applications. Are you still interested?" So
Cool.
that right there tells you whether you have a warm lead or a cold lead just based off that showing, and it's
Hmm.
it's really helped to kind of make my marketing life a little bit easier.
Yeah, I can already tell we're going to have to do a different video, a screen capture video of exactly how you use this product, because
I'd love to.
that
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
it took me maybe. I've got a little bit of knowledge in programming.
Hmm.
Not a lot. I haven't touched code in a lot of years, but it's basically if then statements. If
Hmm.
the person confirmed, then send this message.
Hmm.
If the person says they need to reschedule, send this message. If they're on time, put them into this chain of emails or text messages and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Makes life so much easier.
Yeah, I'll reach out to that company. What I'd like to do is start adding different services to the group at a discount,
Mm,
and get that kind of discount for anybody that's part of the group. That's awesome. I love that.
right.
So, in your
And
particular
one
case,
other thing
yeah, go ahead.
that's sorry to cut you off. The one other thing that I will mention, my no shows has dropped, and I don't have an actual like number. I haven't done the research, the analysis on
We're
it.
Americans. Just
My
make it
no
up.
shows has my no shows have dropped by 90%
Yeah.
since I started. But no, the number of no shows has really dropped drastically because if they don't confirm,
Mm,
if they don't send anything back, it just says they were reminded, and I know that they're not coming.
mm,
If they need to be rescheduled, I know. If they're not coming, I know. So it's cut down on number one, my useless trips to places, and
mm.
number two, it's cut down on the number of no shows drastically. If they're
Sure.
saying they're going to confirm and come, about I would say most of the time, more than 90% of the time, if they confirm, they show up. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think I'm a pretty reliable person, but I forget things still and show up late
Mhm.
to something or miss something just because, and I completely intended to go and I just got busy or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm one of those people for sure. If you send me that, my dentist does it where I get those text updates saying, "Hey, you got an appointment
Yep.
tomorrow." I'm like, "Oh, thank you," you know. So that kind
Yeah.
of stuff I think can help your show rate quite a bit, and that might be super helpful
Yeah.
for somebody like
Absolutely.
Teresa.
Well, and I stole the idea from my chiropractor actually because he integrated a similar system in his office, and he said that he actually had the numbers because it did the analysis for
Hmm.
him. He said that his no shows, like his no call no show appointments, dropped by 98%.
Wow,
Yeah, so
that's
that's
huge.
crazy. That's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
he's booking way more appointments than he ever was before. And if
yeah.
he's gonna have an open spot, he knows it much sooner, and he's able to fill it with a paying customer rather than lose productivity.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing
Hmm.
that tip. I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you got anything else to add though as far as the lead process? I think we're talking
I
about kind
do.
of funnel numbers and what you
Yeah,
typically go by.
exactly. So, and I printed out, I've got a little bit of research here on this as well. And I think I sent you this image so that you can actually post it up on the little lead funnel here.
Hmm. Yeah, mine
So
will look better than
this is
that
a
one on
basic
screen.
one. I hope so. I would hope so. So the basic concept of leasing is for every 100 people you touch, you're going to wind up with one person that qualifies for your apartment in a lot of instances. The general conversion rate in sales, by the way, is between 1 and 3%, and 3% is considered very high in most industries. So if you're getting a 1% conversion, 100 leads to one tenant, that's actually pretty good conversion rates from all of the articles that I've read.
Well, and
So
obviously, I
people,
would say a lot of that too is based on how stringent your qualifications are. Because somebody might say,
right.
I get a tenant, one out of two tenants every time. But it's like if you let
Yeah, but
anybody
what's your
in,
criteria? Yeah, I mean, and I see that pop up a lot of times on the group there. people that are like, oh, I got a tenant in like 3 days. And I'm like, well, you either got very lucky or your criteria may need to be adjusted, because those are generally the same people that 2 months down the road are like, oh, this tenant's a nightmare. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, our criteria is pretty stringent. I know myself, and
Stefano.
Stefano, yeah. Steve have been talking in via email about like selection criteria and making adjustments to credit scores and stuff like that. That's something that's constantly on the front of my mind, is getting, because
Mm-hmm.
vacancy kills a good investment property.
Mm-hmm.
So anything we can do to get a tenant filled into a unit quickly, a quality tenant, we're looking at anything that we can do to kind of make that process a little smoother.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, going back to lead funneling, and this is a generic sales approach. This is a similar approach that you're going to find in just about any industry, but I'll apply it to leasing here. So you've got your funnel. You start at the top with what I guess I would call cold contacts or cold leads, people
Mm-hmm.
who are interested. They've sent you the email, they've made the phone call, what have you, um, from whatever source you happen to have. And it's good to kind of keep a record of where you're getting your leads from, so that you know what's beneficial and what's not. So you're starting with your cold leads. Out of those cold leads, if you do your phone screening, say you've got 100 of them, you're probably going to knock a large portion, we'll say probably 75% right off the top, are going to not qualify based off of your phone screening criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talk about the income and we talk about the credit score and this and that on that first phone call, so that we're not wasting our time or the applicant's time if we know they're not going to qualify for an apartment.
Sure.
Then you get to your from the top of your funnel, you're getting down into your middle portion of the funnel, which is going to be the people who actually come out and see the apartment. So those are the people, they've made it through at least that initial phase. They're still interested, at least interested enough to come out for a showing.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people, those are what I would consider your warm leads at that point. Those are the people who have expressed interest, who are looking for more information. And then you finally get to the bottom of that, at the end of the showing, you can kind of gauge whether or not somebody's going to be interested and worth following up on. Those are what I would consider your hot leads at that point.
Mm-hmm.
The people who've come out, they've expressed interest, they've taken an application. Those are the people that you should be following up on.
Mm-hmm.
The last statistics I read said that you're looking for between sometimes 8 to 12 contacts before somebody makes a buying decision.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's most people. They get an email, they get a phone call, they get a text message, they respond 1 or 2 times. Sometimes you just have to go above and beyond, especially if you're in a market that has if you have a more stringent criteria, or if you're in a market that's tougher to rent.
Mm-hmm.
You're constantly working that follow-up. So follow-up is huge in any aspect of sales, but especially in leasing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's interesting because what you're talking about before, that app, was it called AppTodo?
AppTodo, yeah.
AppTodo. So if that's actually creating 3 points, 4 points of contact automatically for you too,
Absolutely.
it's because anytime that you create a point of contact, like in marketing, they call them micro conversions. So
Right.
it's really silly, but just getting somebody to click on something, that's a micro conversion. So before they even sign up, it's like you want them to click on the button, then you want them to agree and say, yes, that is something I've thought about. And
That's such marketing speak.
it is. It is. I know. Get them on the yes train and just get them to, sign up for your service and then never, actually fulfill your duties on the other end. That's marketing.
I feel like I should have. I feel like I should have a. Was it Alec Baldwin in Glengarry Glen Ross?
I
I
haven't
should get
seen
an
that.
Alec Baldwin mask and always be closing.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah, I've definitely seen
Coffee
that
is
clip.
for closers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where he goes nuts. Yeah, it's funny. I'm in marketing. That's kind of like what I'm passionate about, but I don't want to say I hate, but I have a strong disdain for marketers because it's
Yeah.
just like a lot of it's very slimy and just kind of like
It
this
is.
is, do you want to stop, being a loser and be able to achieve all your dreams? Click here. And I'm like, no, that's not how people, that's not where you should get satisfaction from,
Yeah. Let me go talk to my 26-year-old life coach. Right.
Yes. Yeah. And everything's, the messaging is always very shallow, but I think it's because some
Right.
of our concerns as individuals are shallow sometimes. And we kind of start
Right.
thinking about money as like the most important thing. So then that's why marketers come at you with, oh, this is going to make you a boatload of money, So
Right.
we're off topic. So I apologize to Teresa, but
Just a touch. Yeah.
yeah, but it's all right. We'll keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Real Talk with Andrew and
This
Aaron.
is real talk.
We're going to
This is
rename
in
this
depth.
session
Real
Yeah.
talk?
Yeah, real talk. And we're just going to talk about our feelings and emotions.
I don't know about all that.
Okay. I feel like we should probably end this video.
That's the end of this one.
Yeah.
Maybe forever. I don't know.
All right. I'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right.